Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a lovely day. This video is going to be focused on the champion of Hyperion. And there's a lot of things that get me hyped about this champion. Now, it's only been very recently I've awakened it, and as well one that I've decided to rank 5. Utilization is, well, game-wide. There's loads of places this champion is really effective for. Now here's the thing, Hyperion can be used as a champion that's unawakened. You can rank 5 him and he's still relatively good. However, though, if you're wanting to get this champion, have those buffs on for increased amount of time, and as you can see by the signature ability, I've only got like level 20 signature, and it's still a case as a 70.19% increased buff duration. Now, I'd love to have that exponentially increased, but you can do things with Cosmic Supremacy. There's the Beardo synergy, which can increase buff duration by plus 25%, and there are another couple of other synergies that utilize or increase things like Fury timing. But let's face it, in this day and age of Marvel Contest of Champions, champions need to function singularly rather than being in synergies, which is a bit of a broad statement, but it is true. If you're used to utilizing champions for things like Act 6 and Act 6.2 with the gating systems, a lot of the very unique buffs created by Kabam that interwork into things like Canadian difficulty recently and what the future Cavalier difficulty may look like, then ultimately you'll need a champion to function on their own, not in a synergy group. That is why the signature ability always comes in handy to increase the timers of things like the power gain buff and the fury buffs this champion gets. The champion also has some things that are very forgiving for mistakes, and as well just pad this champion as well. He's kind of like a champion for all seasons, gathering things like physical resistance from the cosmic charges he creates throughout the battle, but also he generates a regeneration, which can be done by absorbing cosmic charges, which can be done the same way as you use Heimdall. You swipe backwards, you stay in block, and then you're able to get that regeneration buff. And it's actually quite nice. For this rarity, it's 5k regeneration, which isn't too bad. And all of these things really amalgamate quite nicely when there's things like incursions on. I'm going to play over the top of this video some gameplay from an incursion stream that I've done fairly recently. Unfortunately, this was going to be turned into a video, but because the stream went down multiple times and I had very bad internet connection problems, we're going to redo this as a separate video at a later date, myself and Dan, Frontline MCOC. Now, lots of the experimentation was done to utilize things like buff cornucopia, martial artist, not to mention a lot of special augmentation and special targeted hacks that usually come about. Attack surges, not to mention anything that has buff triggering, buff enhancement, and buff count, because let's face it, this champion, if you're using the parry and heavy attack method, you're going to be cultivating a lot of fury buffs. You'll be getting power gains left, right and center, not to mention if you're triggering things like the regeneration and having that kind of stack up and more ramped up, you're going to be seeing a lot of damage, a lot of strength, a lot of utility, and not to mention the fact of, well, you know, you could throw SP1s and do incinerates, and that's the playstyle shift with this champion. If you're going to debuff enhancement in the hacks, then you're able to utilize the incinerate and add more potency to it, especially if you do the debuff enhancement. But if the method that you don't want to do is the normal one, and the normal one is to build up all those furies, build up to an SP2, and literally smash home some of the greatest and most juiciest of damage that you'll ever see. And for the experimentation, I think it was an SP2 did about 60,000, and we were very early on into some of the rooms, so we're going to try and do this again at a later date and try and see if there's, by the end of it, you know, we're doing extensive amount of damage to enemies, so it's all pretty exciting stuff. Okay, let's talk about viability in endgame content, in particular Act 6. Now, Act 6.1 is going to be the quest in question, where you've got the Sentinel boss fight. That's where Hyperion can be quite effective, but do watch out, because like there could be some usage. I'm not going to say advise doing this, but if you are starved for options, and I was so starved for options because I didn't have an expansive 5-star roster back in, I want to say, March, when I decided to go like full ham, and I did in space of 5 hours 10 paths of this, and it just like, oh my god, just killed me for the vibe of the game, just sucked any kind of interest I had out of it after. And that's the thing, guys, take breaks between doing it, because you'll burn out just so quickly. And that's the thing, I felt quite burnt out by the end of this, that I used Abomination against Caustic Temper. But Caustic Temper could be a case of like, if you don't have Split Atom, thanks Kabam for that combination. And look, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure that there will be players that use non-science champions against this lane. I'm just kind of like making a point to go like, oh man, it's just another thing in Act 6 where I just go like, what was Kabam thinking when they were putting this together? In any case, Caustic Temper is still cool. It comes up from time to time. It is something I'm going to talk about at 6.2.2 in a second. But yeah, if you're looking for like a cool option to take down Sentinel, Hyperion is a great example. It's just a shame a lot of the decent champions that I picked up, except for Medusa, because I ended up doing this with the Medusa, were not available to me to actually take this down. It's much more of a kind of a friendlier option because of Hurt Locker, and that's all about using the same special. Let's face it, with Hyperion, it's very easy with power gain to switch between different specials. Like, okay, I'm at an SP2, boom, hitting an SP2. Oh, I'm at an SP1, do an SP1. And then after that, you kind of find yourself, boom, I'm up to like a SP3. That power gain boost, power gain buff, is just so helpful to kind of like get you up to the respective different special attack in order to take down this guy. So it's like it is a really good option to take down Sentinel if you start for an option and have an Hyperion. Obviously you've got to have a 5-star version. So now moving on to 6.2.2. This is the Mr. Sinister fight. This is still a very annoying interaction. Now you don't have to use Hyperion for this, but it is an option if you are starved again for options. Now, Caustic Temper is here. This doesn't mean you should go full ham to go and take down the enemy, because you've got to watch out for Back Blast. And Back Blast will basically mean that you'll be stuck to throwing like SP1s in order to put Incinerate debuff on, or SP3s. I would say that it's just a parry heavy method for this. You can use other options. Again, I'm not saying use this option, use Hyperion against this. It's an option. There's so many ones like you could take in order to mitigate some of the regeneration from Mr. Sinister. You could be using the likes of Warlock. You could use Warlock with the Heimdall synergy, because that's another thing as well. You will need Heimdall in order to activate a Fury buff to be able to bypass Caustic Temper and be able to not take damage as well, and obviously dish out and also suppress that regeneration. As I said, there's so many different options to taking this down. I'll probably do this in a separate video, but for the purpose of this, Hyperion is an option. And as well, the only downside is that you end up just doing the parry heavy method, because the SP2 more than likely will hit off a nice amount of crits. And let's face it, the critical damage is doubled. However, if damage from a critical hit exceeds 5% of the defender's max health, or the attacker lands 4 or more guaranteed crit hits throughout the fight, the attacker suffers from an Incinerate debuff. So yeah, not great. I have used in the past Cat Marvel movie. That was effective. I did that for the first clear, I think, and then yeah, just took it off from there. But you know, Hyperion still amazing. There's also some viability against nodes that require more of a parry and heavy method. Now, not for Icarus, because if you've got a lot of Fury buffs on, then yeah, chances are that's going to scupper you and you're going to take a lot of damage. But Life Cycle, however, Life Cycle is a really cool option, maybe for path clearing. I probably wouldn't say it was the best idea to go against Symbiote Supreme with it, but definitely if you're looking at ideas of path clearing, so you're doing parry and heavy attack methods, you're then triggering Life Cycle. If you build up to an SP3, and let's face it, with Hyperion, you're going to be up to an SP3 really quickly, then it could be a really cool option to go like parry, heavy attack, and then boom, SP3, job's done, you've smashed it through, on to the next fight. And I would probably recommend that actually for Life Cycle. Yes, you could use Warlock. Yes, you could use so many other champions, and there's a whole plethora of champions to take down Life Cycle. But it's an option, as many others are. There we have it. That's been a utilization and as well rank up video of Hyperion. I really enjoy this champion at the moment and can't recommend him enough. I would say Awakened, Unawakened, still viable, fun, frisky, and utilised perfectly at the Summoner Showdown, or the qualifiers I think it was in the Summoner Showdown. Will it be a key champion this year? Who knows? But in any case, thank you very much for watching this video. And I've got loads of badass champions to rank up, didn't you know? I mean, it's quite obvious, there was a lot there to choose from. So yeah, lots of rank ups for me over the summer. Looking forward to it. Thanks for watching the video. Check out some other stuff that's up there and down there as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.